Hey folks, Team here, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play for Hearts of Iron 4, where I will be playing Yugoslavia in the Death and Dishonor expansion, patch 1.4. And if that sounds a little bit familiar to you, it's because I played Yugoslavia in a multiplayer game on a stream that Paradox organized previous to the release of the expansion. Actually, the expansion is still not out yet, so this is still pre-release code, hot code, things might change. But in prepping for that multiplayer game, I played a little of Yugoslavia solo on my own, and I really enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was quite fun, and I thought, oh, it'd be great, maybe I'll play it some more, and I thought, oh, well, then I may as well record it. I actually wasn't planning on doing a new Hoi 4 series until Kaiserreich got updated for 1.4, but, you know, just too excited to do this, so we're going to have to go ahead and give this a go. We are going to be playing... So we're going to be playing Yugoslavia. We are going to be playing with historical AI focuses on, because I want to see sort of how that feels here. Historically, of course, Italy gets some claims in Yugoslavia and declares war on them. Often, if you're a player Italy, you can take care of that before, you know, the true war really breaks out and that sort of thing. Obviously, Germany will, with the historical focuses on, will Anschluss Austria. We'll go ahead and eat Czechoslovakia. I mean, as soon as they Anschluss Austria, then we're going to have a border with both Germany and Italy, and things will be a little bit scary. In this run-through, what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to be joining the Common Term. I'm going to actually go and do the strategy that I was planning to do in the multiplayer. Well, I sort of did, which is to say, become communist as soon as possible, because as soon as you're communist, you can justify wars on other countries. And the idea is to justify a war on Bulgaria and eat them before world tension gets so high that the Allies can guarantee Bulgaria. Which I was not able to do in the multiplayer, because world tension in a multiplayer setting tends to get go crazy pretty fast. So this, we're going to take a moment and look at the focus tree for Yugoslavia here in Death and Dishonor. There is quite a lot in this entire Western focus branch. This Western focus branch has the side that goes, this side becomes more what? There we go, joint axis, there we go. I was going to say the left side is the sort of fascist side, joint axis. The right side of the Western focuses branch has you joining the Allies over here. There's ways to get claims and different things like that, especially on the Axis side over here. But we are going to not do this at all. The entire Western focus side of the tree is going to be completely ignored, as we instead recognize the Soviet Union over here, which of course leads us down the communist branch. Now, after doing these four ideas here, you then get to choose whether you're going to join the Common Term or take the Yugoslavian path to communism. If you take this option, it doesn't mean you still can't join the Common Term afterwards. It just means you don't have an event that fires that has Russia accept you into it. Instead, you'd probably have to get them to accept you just by the virtue of the fact that you're communist. But the idea is, if you go down here, really, you're going over here to create your own faction. That's the idea of taking this particular option over here. But we're going to go ahead and join the Common Term because I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I really, I mean, multiplayer is going to multiplayer, right? But I was a little like, oh, it's too bad things didn't go exactly the way that I sort of expected. And I really want to take another crack at it. So there's some good stuff down here. In particular, one of the important ones that we'll have to grab is the Form the Federal Republic over here, which removes 3 national spirits from our country. And those national spirits are minus 30% national unity, a massive cost increase to most of your political power changes, and I think it's this one here, the Slovene nationalism, which gives you a 10% production efficiency growth penalty, which is particularly crummy. We do have some really good industrialization programs. At the start, we don't have a very strong industry, but there is some pretty nice things over here. Either one of these can generate 3 factories for us, just depending on type. We only have 3 research slots right now, but we will get an extra one here, and then a 5th one either here or here. These branches are mutually exclusive, but one way or another, we will get a 5th research slot. And it's actually not that hard to get. We also get a fair number of additional resources. So this would be, what, aluminum and tungsten, oil over here if we want. The Serbian steel is particularly nice, because it's 16 resources over here, and it's the type that you need for infantry weapons. This one's a little lower priority to me because it's only a couple factories and doesn't lead to anything else, but I'm sure we'll backfill it. And then, of course, you get modernized Air Force, Army, and some shipyard stuff. Now, most likely we're not going to be doing a whole heck of a lot of shipyard stuff, although there's something to be said about getting some extra naval bases and coastal forts perhaps, but I think this will probably get ignored altogether, because if we're not, I think things would be different if we were in the Axis, because then Italy would really have control over our seas over here, and we would be kind of protected naval-wise. But if we're not going to be part of the Axis, then Italy's going to have control over our seas over here, and we will be toasted naval-wise. I will be taking our existing navy over here, which is one light cruiser, one destroyer over here. I didn't realize my submarines were in this. It's another thing I didn't really split up properly in the multiplayer, so that should definitely be split up. So the this marine over here, I'm going to tell you to just convoy escort just in the Adriatic itself. We're not going to go very far from home, so we'll do token convoy escort, but not much. And then our submarines over here are, I guess they'll go into convoying. I mean, we don't really need them now, but they'll try to do a little bit of that. They'll get sunk in the not too distant future, so they're not really a big deal. I guess we'll give the Admiral to them, though, so maybe they'll survive a little bit longer. Who knows? Air Force-wise, we have 96 pre-war fighters. That's also all the technology that we have. If we take a look at our Air Force over here, all we've got is pre-war fighters. There's a lot of stuff we don't have. We do have the pre-war tanks, and that's it. We've got the I guess this is just towed artillery. I guess there's no pre-war artillery. So we've got that at least. The infantry tech is, I think, pretty similar to a lot of nations. Some of them do start more advanced. Some of them will start with the mobile infantry unlocked, for example. We do start with mountain infantry unlocked right from the start, which is going to be great whenever we get some actual equipment, but that's it. I guess we'll set our initial research. We will go and, of course, take the standard thing. We'll take the machine tools over here, and we will take the increased construction speed, certainly. And one of the questions is, do we focus on the electrical or electronic engineering early or not? Obviously, the sooner you can get the research deduction times, that helps you in the long run, but we may want to grab some early military tech at some point to boost our forces for our early war against Bulgaria. I think it's probably worth unlocking this first level at the very least, but yeah, not necessarily going too far. Anyway, if we're going to do the early communist push, what we're going to do is we're going to start by going this branch right away. We want to grab the form peasant councils ASAP and abolish the monarchy ASAP, just to get a bunch of passive daily communist support over here. And if you want to be able to guarantee, or mostly guarantee, that you can get Bulgaria before world tension gets up too high, we will be spending our first political power on the communist revolutionary over here. Despite the fact that, obviously, we're going to be generating a lot of communism points altogether, and very quickly he'll become overkill, but the important thing is to have this happen as quickly as possible so that we can declare our war before anyone guarantees anything. So we got some free civilian factories. In multiplayer, I would just go straight to the military factories. In single player, I think we're going to be able to afford tossing in at least 1 or 2 civilian factories. In fact, that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably build 2 of those. And then I'm going to follow that up by building just a little infrastructure on the eastern front over here to keep some supply going a little bit better. And then we're probably going to go right into military factories. And we'll probably build them in places where we've got the 60% infrastructure. Slovenia, these will be 60% afterwards as well, but this will be a pretty good run-up. We do have to be a little bit careful because Slovenia could get taken over pretty early. We might want to minimize how many factories we put in there, and we'll spread them out a little bit. But although if we start to lose Slovenia, if we start to lose any ground to the Axis forces, probably we'll just, sort of snowball and lose overall. We'll see how it goes. Free military factories. We need a lot of things. We do start with it's not evident over here, but as soon as we unpause, we actually are going to have a massive infantry deficit. Also, our manpower is going to go to 0 almost instantly, just to reinforce our existing dudes, because none of our dudes have any strength right now. So one of our top priorities will certainly be a lot more infantry equipment early on. The other thing will be some towed artillery to throw in there. We'll probably try to work up to something like this first before we look at anything else. I will probably simply build some convoys with my naval facility, my single naval facility right now, just to keep that trickling in so we can get some supplies going on or something like that. In terms of troop deployment, I'm going to grab everyone. Oh, cool new thing in the 1.4 patch, you can shift-click the unassigned division thing to actually select all unassigned division instead of just clicking this to select one thing at a time, which is always really annoying. So make a new army out of these guys. I'm going to take the cavalry out of here right away with the idea that these are going to be some sort of garrison force. I'll rename this this theater to something like Garrison, like that. I don't remember. These cavalries, I think they're actually quite dense. Yeah, they're actually pretty dense to start off with. It's actually the Alpine divisions that aren't. You know what? We might actually want to just go ahead and... yeah, I'll use the cavalry in the initial push because we don't need a garrison early on. Really what we're going to be doing is we're going to move to the Bulgarian border, and we're going to be planning a push that looks kind of like, like this. To get these 2 control points, which should be all we need. I'm also going to try to paratroop in there. One of the things, yeah, I want to do in our production queue over here is I want to get 1 transport plane. I'm going to move it to the top of the queue as well. So as soon as we get 1 factory, I don't want to change anything here because I don't want to lose our production efficiency. As soon as we get 1 factory, it'll start to build transport planes. We really only need 1 because most likely what we're going to do is use it to drop just a couple of paratroopers or something on Plovdiv to hopefully rush out the wind. We'll see how it goes. So this is all hilly, mountains, plus urban. Really rough, harsh terrain to deal with here, but there we go. Let's get everyone properly locked in there. And I think we can unpause. Low manpower, insufficient resources. I don't think we're going to trade for anything quite yet because we need the civilian factories. But yeah, so as we hit play, let's bring it up to speed 4 here. For now, we probably will even go up to speed 5 quite rapidly. You should start to see the manpower start to drop, and there you go. We're actually 11,000 infantry equipment in the hole. Now, one of the things I did in multiplayer is I was pretty bad and did not look at actually trying to make sure my troops were at full strength. I kept deploying too many troops. I also made the change to all Alpine divisions battalions is what I want to say, in my infantry group, replacing all these with Alpine troops, which is good. They fight a lot better, especially if you don't have infinite manpower, which we don't, but they do use 50% more equipment. And I didn't have the equipment, so overall, I didn't have the strength, and people have reminded me that it is better to go with fewer troops at full strength than more troops at lower strength, because the strength penalties are considerably more potent than I was maybe giving them credit for. I mean, we did okay, but we could have done better. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more cautious about that. In fact, wondering about, do I go and even just disband a few divisions early on just to improve our strength distribution? You can see the strength on these guys is pretty bad. So that might not be too bad of an idea. And in fact, why don't I just get rid of the cavalry divisions over here? I think I like that idea. So we're going to disband you guys. We're going to get the manpower back, some of the equipment back in the pool. That'll get redistributed. I mean, we'll still be short, but we won't be quite as short, and I think that's going to be a swell idea. I feel like the game is really quiet and not doing anything. Just me? No, I mean, it's doing something. Maybe there's new music. Do I have the music turned off? I do have the music turned off. Was I getting copyright stuff with this? Maybe not. Here, let's go and bring that up. I must have just been... Oh, I was playing this while watching Netflix. That's what I was doing. So I turned off the music. Ha! My bad. Anyway, so that's the plan overall. If we do look at their national unity, 70%. Sofia's worth 15. Plovdiv is worth... I'm confused. It's worth 15 victory points. It doesn't say anything. Is it just worth 1? Ah, 5 over here at Varna. Is this one just worth 1? Oh! Oh, because it's mousing over the order. There we go, 5 points. All right. So we can get 20 points out of 25. So we can get 80% control by grabbing both those and 70% unity. So there we go. That's all we have to do. But because of the mountains and the hills, it's quite tough to get there. That's why I like the Air Force to do some of this. So we will be unlocking paratroopers. I shouldn't be on pause the game. Let's go to speed 5. It will be unlocking paratroopers relatively early. One of the other great changes in 1.4 is the new air interface, which is fantastic. First of all, it's a lot easier to see the range of things. It's also a lot easier to rearrange your units when you're in strategic mode like that. Right-click them to say you're going to be covering the Eastern Balkans. You do have to give them a mission, even though they're being positioned like this. They don't actually have an active mission right now. We're just going to go for air superiority. Do have retreat on, and fighters, without radar or anything like that, really can't do anything at night, so just fly during the day. You have to remember one of the things with planes is every time they take off, some of your planes will likely crash and have accidents and things like that. It depends on your reliability. So if you're flying a lot more patrols, but they're not useful patrols because they're flying at night, then you're just losing planes for no good goddamn reason. So we've recognized the Soviet Union over here. We're going to form Peasant Council first because it gives its daily communist support, which is what we want. Although this is quite nice for fewer consumer goods. It lasts 2 years for us and 1 year for the Soviet Union itself, which is kind of handy-dandy. But we need the support first. Remilitarization of the Rhineland. And we do have the AI historical focus on. Just because I think I like that for the first run for one of these. I want to feel like how would this country have done in the history that actually happened, but in my hands here. I know we don't have any more planes in reserve, I don't think, right now, but I like to do, you know, something like this. So if we do get any reinforcements to go pat it in, I don't think we've got any, though. Yeah, just a shortage of 304 now, which makes sense. Okay, it's not going to take us too long to get things started. We're going to become communist relatively quick. If we have any sort of good events that trigger more communist support, we should become communist before the end of the year. And then it'll be, I don't remember, something like 6 months or something for us to fabricate a claim, because we won't have any real modifiers going on. So by mid-37, if everything goes well, we might be in a war. It might be sort of like third quarter of 37 will be in a war. So we are going to need some more military tech before then. But, and we definitely want radio. I don't think we'll have time to build radar detectors, radar stations. But radio is quite nice for the reinforcement rate. We will need a few more military techs. But I think I can go ahead and grab mechanical computing for the 3% research discount time. I think it's probably going to be okay. I don't think it'll pay for itself early on, like before the Bulgarian War. But I think it won't slow us down in any sort of meaningful manner. But yeah, it will be important to make sure that we can get that done. So we're really looking to get a surplus, well, ideally, yeah, a little bit of a surplus in these things. Let's take a look at our production queues. Hey, if we're down, like if we're at -8 steel, it might be worth trading a civilian factory for it, even though we don't have very many right now. But no, I don't think so. It will be particularly nice to change our laws, certainly. I mean, obviously we'll want to go to, like, you know, the proper war economy as soon as we can. We will need more manpower, but we actually won't have to change our manpower laws right away, because we can get more manpower from local militias over here, and that will handle us through the Bulgarian War. But I'm not going to grab that now, even though, like, well, we've got manpower now. Maybe with disbanding the cavalry units, maybe that will be sufficient for us. We'll see. But I want to go here. While mutual economic aid isn't a huge deal right now, it's about getting to abolish the monarchy for the daily communist support. We don't have to join. It's not a rush to join the Comintern. It's just a rush to. We're going to go to concentrated industry. It's just a rush to become communist, so we can fabricate a claim. Again, the world tension hopefully doesn't rise too quickly. It shouldn't. It should be manageable, but it depends on how a couple events go. Okay. We are going to wait here. We need 187 for our communist revolutionary, because the Macedonian opposition is increasing the cost over here. But that's the first thing we're going to do, just to become as communist as quickly as possible. So we want this war to be resolved, because then we don't have to worry about the same kind of unrest. Everything is nice and stable over here. We've got Bulgaria. Then it gives us a lot of different options to go. It is possible, depending on how things go, that we might even be able to fabricate on Greece, which would be particularly handy, I think. So we'll see. Be nice to do Albania, but it is protected by Italy early on, so that's not going to be a go. Construction is done. It's not 37 yet, so we're not going to get any more of those levels. We're not going to get... we do want radio. It will be nice before the war starts. It's not the highest priority. Do we just want to grab the next level doctrine? I like the fact that it's superior firepower doctrine. I think that fits in really well for us. I like artillery-driven things. We're not going to really be able to do high mobility stuff because we're sitting in hills and mountains. Probably worth getting this organization. It is a big, long research, but if we start it now, it'll be ready before the war starts, and I think will give us a good edge. I like it. Are we there? Oh, yes. We can grab Communist Revolutionary. Bam. Go. All right, so our communist support will grow a little bit faster now, so that's good. I like how it labels it in red, because it's like a bad thing, because it's different ideology, but no, it's good for us. Yeah, you guys are prepping that. We do have this field marshal here with increased planning, which might be worthwhile, because I don't think we're going to be tweaking that plan. Although I do like the trickster thing as well, but I think the increased planning is going to work out halfway decent. Mutual economic aid. Excellent. Abolish the monarchy comes next, which will give us even more daily communist support. So we should have air superiority over here, which will give us a pretty big boost. Not a whole lot of troops here right now, but I suspect they've got some on our rear border. Oh, that's fantastic! We got a communist support boost. This is actually huge. Huge for the speed. It's actually high enough. And once it gets past, like, I don't know what the actual margin is, but I'm pretty sure once it gets above 40%, then there's a chance for a referendum or a coup. So, could have it literally happen any second now that we become actually communist. This is actually another thing that was really slow in the multiplayer game. And I'm not sure that we would have been able to get the war justification included in Bulgaria before the Allies guaranteed them anyway. But the game was really against us. We didn't get an event that helped boost that, so it became much frustrating. The fact that we had this happen might mean that we'll have enough time to do 2 of those. We could start the war with Bulgaria and then start justifying against Greece, and we might be able to sneak it in there before the Allies guarantee. And that would be really helpful for us. Really, really helpful for us. Abolish the monarchy is done. Okay, so there's no need for us to rush to join the Common Term. It's not that helpful for us. I mean, it's obviously something we're going to want, but it's not helpful for this particular thing. Getting research collaboration early is groovy and fine, obviously. And again, we may need some local militias soon, but I think the correct thing to do right now is to go over to the industrial tree over here, because it does take a couple of ticks before we get to something helpful. Because even this, I mean, yeah, more resource gain is fine, but really it's going to be about rushing something that gives us more industry. And in particular, I think I'm going to be quite eager to get down to the Serbian steel. It means that we can't go down to the Slovenia industry branch over here. Or the local self-management, right, for construction speed. And we can't get this research, but if we go down the right, we can get this research, and we can still get down here, and everything is good and fine. So I think that's the branch we're going to go, just to try to build things up. And I think I like the idea of getting the early military factories. But so we're going to do this for now. Because again, we don't have to rush to join the Common Term. It is very important, I don't know if this is going to be changed between release or anything, it is very important that you do not join a faction before you grab one of these 2, because as soon as you join a faction, you can't choose either one of these options, and there's not a skip/autocomplete thing. So if you join the Common Term diplomatically without using one of these things get blocked, and then you can never get rid of those crappy spirits that are a big problem. So you have to make sure you don't do that over here. Seems to me if you join the Common Term, it should auto-advance the join Common Term option. But anyway, it is what it is. I don't think we're going to do any training because we don't have any equipment. Things have gotten slightly better somewhere along the way, though. October Revolution. There, what have we got? Non-aligned supporters would start a civil war. So this is the civil war option. This is actually, of the options, probably worse. Oh. Soldiers are communist partisans. I guess so this would make me become communist right away. But there would be a civil war. So I think I'm going to say no to the civil war. I will take this event that adds more support, though. So we're now at 49%. So at some point there'll be a coup or a referendum. It's probably okay to delay it, although... because I don't want an internal civil war. I think that would just make frustration. Sometimes you don't get a choice. Wow, we're 65%. I think we'll get a vote. Sometimes you get the option as to which one you're going to support earlier on. Something that leads to a referendum or not. Hopefully it'll still happen. I hadn't just screwed something up by picking a wrong button somewhere along the way. Don't be too impressed by this tank division, by the way. It is hardly a tank division. It's this. So it's going to have a little bit more breakthrough than just my infantry. Right? Infantry breakthrough is 34. And this tank division is... well, it's actually only 27. But it's a lot more lightweight. So, yeah, it's not a very helpful division. And in fact, all that's going to happen is as soon as it gets a tick of attrition or any kind of combat, it's going to complain that I'm not producing any light tanks. So, depending on how short of light tanks we are, I'll probably convert that to a regular infantry group. Oh, there we go. Referendum. Yes. Referendum is preferable to a bloody revolt. So we'll do that. We'll lose a little national unity, but we become communist. Blam. Justify war goal. Conquer. Doesn't really matter which one it is for this, so we're going to do that one. It is important to make sure you've got some political power in time for that. So I'm not going to start justifying... when is this due to be done? Okay, the 18th of July. I'm not going to start justifying in Greece now because I don't want to have 2 wars simultaneously, and the fabrications only last for a certain amount of time. But I think once this starts, we'll probably do that. We'll probably start the declaration on Greece. And that'll probably work out. Okay. Oh, did we... not yet. And I really don't want to screw up my production efficiency, so I'm not going to force the transport plane thing. Let's just do one of each infrastructure here. It's still going to be nice to have. Concentrated industry is done. It's not 37 yet. It's getting damn close to 37. No, we'll hold off. I'm going to start on the paratrooper tech. And we will unlock the recon company. Which is going to be... It's one of the best things you can have, because recon company helps you get intel bonuses and pick appropriate counter strategies and things like that. It does make a pretty big difference in combat. Low manpower. Yes, we must rally. Hey, Tito. How's it going, buddy? Bum, 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 bum. Speed 5. I suppose this might be a fine place to put in a cut. Nationalist Spain declares war on Spain. Now, I don't think I've got any kind of material I can lend-lease them. Like, I literally have... I have nothing. Can I send volunteers? No. Axis can send volunteers. I cannot. Oh, you need at least 30 divisions, which I do not have, so we're not going to do that. Well, there you go. You know what? We're coming up to the end of 36. I think this is, in fact, an excellent place for us to put in a little cut here. And yeah, we're going to be grabbing the military industry expansion real soon, because that's going to make a pretty big difference. We have how many military factories right now? We have 3. So we're going to literally double how many military factories we have with that idea, and that's going to be pretty substantial. Thanks for watching, folks. See you next time.